How do you describe your epistemology? How do you describe your metric of truth?
I'm cautious of two extremes. One is to be overly a prioristic and to have just an abstract model in your head and just constantly trying to make the world conform to it. And the other one is a kind of a radical skepticism that only looks at history as just a bunch of data marching along. Like, I think you need both. So as best you can, you need to discern what are the forces that operate independent of empirical reality, and economics is one of those, actually, in the material world.
Yes.
I mean, within economics, you have these laws that are always operating, supply and demand, law of diminishing marginal utility, the equation of exchange, and so on and so on. These are like, in many ways, like brick walls that are set up around us. We bump into them if we try to violate them. And that really excites me because it limits the effective power in the world.
Right.
So economics has this beautiful limiting, it puts strictures.
Effect,
It like puts walls around people's wild visions, and so that's kind of nice. And the fact is that the market itself has become our teacher, and it should be our teacher. We should be willing as intellectuals to open the window, look and see what's going on, try to understand the things you didn't anticipate. That's what excites me most, is the strange surprises in the world. When the narrative of history takes an unexpected course, that delights me because it confuses the intellectuals and makes politicians scared. So I end up doing a lot of that, like chronicling all the ways in which the world is really, truly surprising. And one of those ways right now is crypto technology.
Do you think that we are headed for a time of greater instances of technology competing with government?
Oh, I think we're past that already. It's happened already.
How so?
Well, everything we use in our daily lives has been invented by private markets.
So what about the functions of government? I mean, for instance, as an example, the post office used to be considered a core function of the government that only the government could provide for people.
They did believe this at some point. I don't think it was ever true, but it's especially not true now. In China, the official post office still exists, but nobody uses it. The trucks are just sort of parked there at the offices, and people go to work and sit there and they don't do anything. I think that's probably where we're headed. Wouldn't it be so great if we could trust our political leaders to do the right thing? But we can't. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have a post office. There's absolutely no reason for this thing.
No.
Yeah. And there's so many things like this. The Los Angeles teachers are on strike right now. Well, private markets could handle education much better. Same thing with food inspection. And this is the beautiful thing about crypto. It's shown us that private markets can handle money also.
Better.
I think better. It was true in the past. The thing is, the governments monopolized money starting in basically late 19th century, early 20th century. It nationalized all the money. They held it back. Even in the early 19th century, say in 1820, most of the coins that were circulating in the United States were foreign.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
But nobody cared because, they're all made out of precious metals in those days. It was gold, it was silver, it was bronze. It doesn't matter if it had a stamp of Spain or England or Mexico on it.
The fungibility of it.
Yeah.
Gold is gold. It doesn't matter what name is on it.
There's just brands. Finally, we come to the 20th century, and governments have announced to the world, we know what money is, we know how it's supposed to work, and we're going to manage it better than anybody. And gave us this one money. And it's so interesting because when you use crypto today, the first thing that struck me, the first time I ever sent Bitcoin was, oh my God, look how much better this works than regular money. This is like a Maserati compared to a Model T.
It's true.
And that's what I knew was the future. We're definitely living through this mass collapse in confidence in official institutions. And I think that's good. The question is, what are we going to replace it with? We're really living through a pre-paradigmatic moment right now. The old paradigm is dead. The new paradigm has not come to us yet. We're fighting amongst ourselves to find out what that new paradigm is. And part of my job is to highlight the liberal tradition and say, liberty is the way. Society can manage itself. We can get along with each other if you just give us a chance. That's what I hope the world will look like in the future.